So what this is, this is a spring, and there's a plate with splines that doesn't go, I mean, these are still loose. You can still move them, but when you put this together, you have to push this. This is a spring washer. You have to push it down far enough that this snap ring can actually go inside. This is a snap ring retainer, so there's a groove that contains that snap ring. So you have to push it down far enough to get the snap ring in the groove, and then the retainer around it, and then you can let the pressure back off of it. But this is a tool I made that it's a piece of 4-inch pipe, but I took this inside down so I'd have a little more room to work in there, but it's not really a great design. When I took these apart, I just used some C-clamps on the table, and I got them down far enough I could get these off, but it was not easy. I think I got it. I got this press for $100, and it had the seal blown out. Well, I put a seal in it, and I'm not sure I got the right seal in it, so I might need to get somebody to explain to me what kind of seals I need. But anyway, I think that's in there as good as I can get it. Pretty neat press, 55 ton, got a 2-speed ram, Ramco. Anyway, it's raining today. I know you probably can't hear me very good, so voice over what we can. But when I was sorting through disc a while ago, this is first and second gear. I bought brand new disc, brand new hubs. You can see these hubs are they're beat up pretty badly, and even forward and reverse are, I mean, they're not as bad. The teeth are starting to get a little pointed in there, which means they're getting worn, but these are sharp, so these are really worn. So I bought brand new hubs, and they came with new disc and new plates. So we got all new plates and discs on 2 clutches, so I've got spares. So I guess if we ever get into this again, I'll have a couple spares. Anyway, but this one here, you can see a groove, and it really kind of worked that disc over. Anyway, okay, just on a side note, I thought I was going to be smart, and I did a cheat sheet. So whenever I'm going through, you know, this bearings, this number, this snap rings, this number, because my seal kit came with sealing rings. Well, there must have been a part number change, so I'm just having to kind of dig through and find what fits. But I believe we're going to have everything we need. Anyway, lots of fun. Okay, here we go again. The book actually shows this piece here going in the wrong direction. Or does it? No. Maybe not. I'm just reading the book backwards, I guess. Yeah, that's the way they go. So that snaps down over the ceiling ring. And you can see, oh, I forgot something. Hang on a minute. Got brand new springs with this kit. Came with 15 big ones and 15 little ones. That's what it takes to do all the clutches. There's 3 on each clutch plate, I guess. And when I took this apart, I thought I lost these, and then I got to thinking, well, let me look in the new seal kit. The new seal kit had brand new springs, so as long as I don't lose the new ones, we're in good shape. Pretty tiny little parts here. Alright, now we can do the valve plates. Now these are, I believe these have been flipped over and used more than once, but these are not available. I would have replaced them if they were easily. You can find used ones, but you can't find new ones. Kind of a shame, but this is just kind of like a reed valve type setup. You can see there's only 3 holes, but this thing, actually this one's never been flipped, it's just been turned. So I may flip this one. I don't know that it matters. I mean, these actually block off the hole whenever the, so I can only go like 2 different ways, 3 different ways. Anyway. So what I'm going to do is try to figure out, this plate has been flipped. You can see by the wear on this. So I don't guess it really matters. They feel smooth. But those ride over those dowel pins. And the dowel pin, whenever that one side pushes, it makes sure this one goes the other way. So it pushes it. It makes sure this valve's open. So I'm going to flip this one. I'll have a new sealing surface there. Well, that has to line up on there too. Now we can put our accelerator piston in. I think I just had this oiled. Wiped it off and then we'll oil it again. I guess it would be double oil. So this sets down. Whoop. Alright, now we'll get to wrestle with another snap ring. I think it was this one here, maybe. Alright. I mean, this is just, these snap rings are just so flimsy. Pliers don't really even work. They just slip right off. Pliers don't go big enough, that's the problem. Someday I'll figure out an easy way to do this. Next time. not so bad once you get it there, but then there's another sealing ring that gets hung up on down there, so. Getting it pushed down past there is not an easy deal. Well, I got it that time, mostly. This side, now it popped back up. These were fun to get out too. Alright, let's make sure we get our valve plate back where it needs to be there. Now we can snap that down in the groove, hopefully. Alright, so the movement of that accelerator piston is only that far. So not much, but that's what closes the valve, puts pressure on this side of this plate, and that's called the separator plate. When it goes the other way, closes the valve on this side, puts pressure on this pack. So if that makes any sense. Now when these are neutral, now this is something I didn't find from the TD8 manual, but I found it from the TD15 manual my dad has. So anytime these are running, like say it's in neutral, which would, I don't know that there's ever a time, this one's usually either forward or reverse. I think, no. There is a time, this is neutral. So both of these are open, but there will still be 30 PSI lube pressure, or should be, on both sides of these. So that's something I noticed. The TD8 book doesn't talk about it, but the TD15 book really explains how these things work, and had a lot better explanation on just the theory of operation, that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's see where we're at now. We got to get a sealing ring on. I don't know if that's the right one. I think it is. Got a sealing ring goes there. Same thing on this side. Now these are a hook type ring, so they hook together after you put them in the groove. That pretty much makes 100% seal. Alright. Now I think we are about ready to we need to put an O-ring on here. I don't know if that's the right one. Yikes, I'm not too big. I got the wrong stuff here. Okay, so already running into that problem. So I used a skillet and a propane stove to heat my bearing up. I got it pretty warm, but I went ahead and put it on the, it went on pretty easy. I pressed it on. I've got a sleeve over here, over the shaft that, bearings cooled off, the gears cooled off, bearings cooling off. I can probably let it out of the press about any time, but I got the forward side done on the direction shaft. So this is the input gear that spins this shaft. This shaft always spins. The difference is, you know, whether this clutch or this clutch is engaged tells it which way it's going. So anyway, that's that. So I'm pressing this bearing in. It's supposed to go 60 thousandths below the surface of the gear. So I cut me a special tool on the lathe so that sets that depth just perfect. This is also the tool I use to set that bearing, so I just basically use the other end of it and cut a little notch in it. So got that bearing set in place. Now I got to do the big end. It's a bigger one. It's this one here. I got to make a driver for it now. So I wanted to show you, this clutch hub goes on the shaft, and then there's a retaining ring, and when I pulled this apart, the reverse one was broken. Now there is a bit of slack up and down that shouldn't really be there, but I think when you get lube pressure on it, it's going to hold everything pretty much the same. But anyway, I was able to find a retainer. This is a piece of one of the old ones that broke. Just shattered. But I think I've probably got some of the last transmission bearings for this dozer. These dudes are, some of these bearings are super rare. Like these here, there's probably a lot of them around, but these are 85 bucks a piece, and I needed, I don't know, 8 of them, something like that. So anyway, after you put that in, there's a spacer washer that goes in place, and then there is I thought I just had it in my hand. Oh, I did. After you put the spacer washer in, this is an external clip that clips inside here, and that keeps everything from coming apart. But since there's that slack in there, I kind of have to lift up on it a little bit to get that snap ring started. So it's just a bit of a trick. Hey, almost went. Can on, get in there, get in there. There we go. After I get them in, I like to spin them just to make sure they're kind of seated. Now after that goes in place, we've got a thrust washer. And this is an interesting design. Whoever did this, borderline genius, I think. I don't know, maybe not. But when this snap ring's in place, this washer actually fits inside of it so that there's no way it can pop out of there. That's kind of a neat design, I think. But here's some of my, these are my new ones. And some of them are probably been sitting on the shelf a while. But I don't see any rust on any rollers, so we're thinking in good shape. So get that in place. Got another thrust, goes on top of that. And set it down there. Like so. Now, to make darn sure I'm not missing anything, but between the reverse hub, we've got a bearing, we've got two thrust, we've got the thrust washers, the thrust bearing, we've got the snap ring, we've got spacer, we got the number 14 is that retainer I showed you. So now we are ready for reverse clutch basket, or whatever you call this. Looks like a basket, doesn't it? This is what we just put the bearings in on the press. Line all those up. Make sure you got them engaged. One here that ain't quite. There it went. So that would be that. Now, we've got another thrust, but it's a smaller one. This one was actually a little cheaper, and I think I actually got this one from Case. So put a thrust washer on. And let's see if I got my new bearing here somewhere. Got too many stuffs out here. There she is. I think I got this one from Case New Holland. Or Case IH. Case New Holland. Case IH, sorry. We almost got the reverser shaft or direction shaft done. Almost. And then we put the other washer in place. Now I'm not sure, I don't think I got the new snap ring for this one. But this snap ring also has a retainer that after you put the snap ring on, this goes in place, and then the bearing presses down on this shaft, and that's what holds it in place. So probably need to be heating that bearing up next. But if I reuse a snap ring, I normally try to find the side that was wore the most and don't use it. Use the other side. Seems like a pretty good snap ring. Got a little in play there, but not a lot. And like I say, this retainer goes in place. Dang it, got a magnet causing trouble there. Okay. should go down on there. That keeps that snap ring from expanding and coming off, so kind of a neat design too. So I had 2 of those new, so I think I got all that. So need this bearing. I got to figure out which one that is. That is a 15126. I'll put about 10 tons of pressure on it, and we'll let her cool off. This one slid right on, didn't even have to press it. But the book says to hold them in place till they cool off, so. But we still got, let me see. Still got in play, everything still looks good. I'm gonna clear the table off, see how many parts I left out or forgot. Boy, I sure hope I didn't forget any. I don't think I did. There's a mess of stuff over here, but that is all of the, that's called the forward and reverse. No, it's called the direction shaft. So that one, whenever you flip from forward to reverse, that's the one that takes the work there. And believe me, I will be using the decelerator every time I shift this thing, because this is too much money to be wasting on something that we might have to redo or break. I see guys that run dozers that don't decelerate. Man, if it's a power shift, every time you do that, you're taking up, you're banging these things. I mean, this gear's going one way, and then you shift it, and it bangs this one on the other way, and it hammers everything in there back and forth. You got bevel, or what do you call that? Helical cut? Not helical cut. Spiral cut? I don't know. I'm went blank on it. I think spiral cut gears, but anytime you jerk them, they're going to have a side load, and it's going to slam this back and forth, and it's going to do more damage here. So anyway, there was 2 broken retainers. There was one on 3rd gear on the direction, or on the range shaft or the speed shaft. Speed shaft's what I'm going to tackle tomorrow. It's a little bit more difficult. I kind of wanted to get this one under my belt first, and then we've got the input shaft. It consists of this and that, and I'm thinking, no, there's just basically some bearings we got to put together on that. So it's fairly simple, and then we'll start assembling the case, which makes me nervous because there's a lot of stuff in there that's well, I'll show you when we get to it. It's quite an assembly process. There's going to be some shims that may have to be made, some spacers, whatnots, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna clean my mess up, let that cool off, and call it probably an evening or a day. Started on this maybe just a little bit before noon, and I've been having to make odds and ends like this. Bearing installer, I made this morning. That was to compress the clutch packs when you put the snap rings on. So there is a difference in the clutches on the clutch hubs themselves are different. The way they're built on the forward and reverse shaft versus the direction, or the direction shaft versus the speed shaft, or the 1, 2, 3 shaft. So a little bit of difference, but all the plates and all the discs are the same. I do actually have two brand new. I've got a forward, or a first and second. These are brand new IH, new old stock parts. The reason I got these, the clutch hubs on these are really bad. I mean, they're just, like I say, they get hammered, and when they get worn to that point, I probably really should have replaced the forward and reverse ones too, but they were in better shape. So, and if it's lasted that many years, of course it's probably been rebuilt before. These discs could be reused. These are not in bad shape. I mean, there's a few of them you can kind of see. This one's missing a little bit of the little grooves in it, and I have made it slip before. I actually ran low on transmission oil one day and she slipped, but you can see it's kind of funny. It's like it kind of starts at the end that gets pushed on by the piston. These will be worn way more than the ones down toward the bottom. So, and it kind of makes sense because they're the ones catching that speed, slowing things down, and then everything gets to move in the right direction. These don't get hammered quite so bad. So there's a lot of these that I probably could have reused every one of them, to tell you the truth. But the ones I bought were aftermarket that I put in the forward and reverse. They're a $15 a piece plate, and there's 20 of them. There's 10 in each clutch. These were not so cheap because they're new old stock. These are IH. See, they have the same pattern. The other ones had a little bit different pattern, but these are genuine international parts here. And we're probably getting down to the last of the barrel on some of this stuff. I don't know. These, FP Smith had these for about $1,000, and Nationwide had these for $600 a piece. But if you figure these plates are, the steel plates are 20 bucks, and there's I think 11 of those, and then the fiber plates 15 bucks a piece, and then you get the clutch hub. I thought it was a pretty good deal. Probably, like I say, I probably should have checked on the forward and reverse, but I'm not so concerned about them. I think they'll be all right. Third gear, I'm not even going to replace any disc in it. I went through it. They all look really good. I may go through it one more time. I may pull out some of these better ones from the you know, the end of the pack where they're not so worn. I may throw a few of them in there, but third gear really doesn't get that much. It just don't get the torque and hammered like first and second. First gear is usually, you know, first and second is what I usually run it in. I never run in third unless I'm just moving across a long ways. Third gear, you don't have a lot of power for pushing, but it's good for moving quick if you got to get out of the way or something, or moving down the road a half a mile. That's about the only time I ever use third. So I'm not concerned about third gear. Like I say, bearings, I was looking, I almost went cheap on them, and then I got to thinking, you know, I can buy Timkins made in the USA. Why not? I mean, they were maybe 15% more, but the ones that really cost me are these ones that only IH had. And believe me, I measured these. I went online, I looked at every bearing site I could find. I could not find these. That's one reason this has taken me so long, is I thought, well, I'm gonna save some money. I don't want to pay $75 or $78 for these. I can find a company that makes them. The problem is these are specifically sized inside and outside. and the ones I found online would either be loose or too big, or both. So couldn't cross any numbers over to a different bearing manufacturer. So basically Nationwide Parts put together my bearings for me on the ones I couldn't find. The tapered rollers, I just went to Essential Bearing in Oklahoma City, and he set me up. They good people there. Brenda helped me out. She took my order and got them all ordered in. It took a little bit, but like I say, kind of satisfying to see made in the USA on your bearings. I like it. She deserves it. Anyway, I'm gonna clean my mess up here.